So at this point, we've done a lot of work. Let's zoom back out. Look at our image. Yeah, we've done a lot of work, and it's looking great from where we're at. It would be a bummer at this point to lose all the work we've done. This is generally where I kind of start thinking about I should save my work. It's, have I done enough since my last save that I'd be bummed if I lost it? That's sort of my rule. If it's really fast and kind of, I'm not going to save every 30 seconds because I can afford to replace 30 seconds. But here I've done, 5 or 10 minutes worth of work to the image, so I'm going to want to save it because I don't want to lose that time. So a really important thing to remember is an old acronym that my very first computer teacher taught me. Back in the day of floppy disks and DOS and AppleScript. And he used to always say SOS, which stood for Save Often Stupid. And I know that that's not politically correct today. So if you want another one to use, if you'd like a less aggressive way of saying it, I remember SOBS, Save Often or Be Sorry. And if you don't save often, you will be sorry and you will probably cry. So here is what we're going to do. We're going to really quick sharpen the edges of our image by using the same trick that we've used before, especially with the tool that we just used. You saw how it softened some of those edges. In some of these areas, it doesn't matter too much, the background. But if it's softened, if we did a scratch over an arm or something and it sort of softened it, this will help tweak it back up and add some sharpness to our image. So what we're going to do is go to Filter, Sharpen, Unsharp Mask. And remember that this tool sharpens just the edges of the image. It's kind of a funny name, Unsharp Mask, but it sharpens the edges of the image while masking or avoiding sharpening the larger surface areas so you don't lose texture. It's a really great tool. This is the best way to sharpen your images, and I always pull it back to the face. There we go. I'm going to put in my standards of 100, 1, and 5 and then see what it looks like. I'm not seeing much happen with this image. So usually I start playing first with the radius. I'm going to just bump that up a little bit. So let's see if I see a little bit of sharpening, very, very subtle. And I don't want to overdo it just because it's sort of the character of this photo is that retro looking, although that's looking pretty good. I see a dot on the nose I'll have to fix. You can see how there's a little bit of a trade-off here. And I'm looking at my preview here, my large preview. Look at how when it's cranked, I am getting a lot of sharpening happening in the eyes and the mouth looks great. But look at the skin. See how speckled it's looking? When I bring it back down, you see how it looks very soft. So this is the balancing act. I can very easily over-sharpen the image, and I want to avoid that problem. And, I'm going to compromise. I don't like the 1 isn't enough, 3 was too much. I'm going to just kind of go with 2, which is sort of in the middle. And again, that's often how it works for us, is that we're playing with the compromises that we need to make between the sharpness that we want to see in the eyes and the mouth, and also the overall smoothness. So it's a really delicate dance that sometimes as designers, we need to do. I'm going to call that one good though. And now what we're going to do is we're going to save this document. Since we're still working, we want this saved in Photoshop format. So we're going to save this one as a PSD file, which is the native Photoshop document format. And the main benefit of this format is that you maintain all of the layers, all of the quality, all of the editability that you have while you're working. When you save as a PSD, you retain all of the editing and all of the quality of the image. So we're going to go to File and choose Save As. And here, what we want to do is move to our Photoshop folder. And I'm going to save this as Ballerina BW. And I'm going to change the file type to Photoshop. Now, if you're on a Mac, I think that this interface is just a little bit different. The main thing to keep in mind is that you need to make sure that you give it a file name that makes sense, a location that makes sense, and here is very important that you need to make sure that it ends in .psd and that the operating system knows to save it as a Photoshop document. So I'm going to click Save here. And now you can see that we have this image saved as a PSD up here in the title area. We can see that it says .psd, which indicates to us that it's a Photoshop document. We've done a lot of work, and we took this image farther than I suspect when you first saw it, you thought you'd be able to bring it in this short amount of time. Wait till you see where we go next. We're going to introduce a whole new concept called layers. We're going to introduce color. We're going to talk about color modes, all this magic that happens behind the scene that a lot of times people just aren't aware of. So let's go ahead and take it a whole new level forward into a color photo.